Alright guys, welcome back. Today I am in the search for the perfect fidget spinner. And as you can see, I have a ton on this table right now. So let's get started talking about the bearings. So there's plenty of different bearings on the market. I use just the standard run-of-the-mill Amazon bearings. You can go to eBay and get like 100 some odd bearings from China for like $20 or whatever. I would do that. I don't really like eBay, and the shipping from China is another like $30, so there's just no point. And I have Amazon Prime, and it just I just get them from Amazon because there's returns, and Amazon's just great. So I get a pack of skate bearings, and they come in like a little tube, and they have metal shields. And I just take a screwdriver and pop off the metal shields, and then I have this. This is alcohol. Acetone is way better, but I only have rubbing alcohol. And if you put them in here, I keep saying, it'll take the grease out. So you'll see it spins much freely, and I definitely need to change the liquid in here because the liquid itself is getting greasy. But so that's how you take the grease out of the bearings, and it'll make your bearings spin much better. And the whole reason that is so these bearings, these 608 ZZs, whatever, they are designed for skateboards. And these radial bearings, as they're called, are designed to spin freely under weight. So that's why the skateboard, these are used for skateboards. You know, you have a person standing on top and it still needs to spin freely. With a fidget spinner, the weight is not a factor. You just want a long spin time. So with that, the grease is not helpful. The grease is for lubrication to make it spin under weight, but it also slows it down because it adds drag. So if you take the grease out, it'll spin much freer. Much more free, I guess. So I have all these different fidget spinners that I've gotten from Thingiverse, and I thought I would talk about them a little bit. So this is my own custom design, these spinners right here, and I'll talk about those last. But this is the Thorn fidget spinner. These will all be in the description. I got a comment last time that you wanted them in the description, so they will be in there. This is the Thorn fidget spinner, and I have caps on this, but it spins pretty nice. I really like the Thorns. It's definitely a cool spinner. The tolerances on this are really tight. So if you don't have a printer if you have a printer that seems to print smaller, I would scale this up to 101% or something, because I had to pound these bearings in. This one is probably my favorite next to this one. So this is a flower fidget spinner on Thingiverse, and it uses nuts as weights. These are M8 hex nuts. And the coolest thing about this is, along with these two here, they were printed out of bronze fill. And I got that out of the maker box. And the nice thing about this is because the whole idea about fidget spinner is weight. And I know I talked about weight before, but if you've ever heard of a flywheel, which is basically a heavy disc that just, it scientifically stores energy, rotational energy. And because it's spinning and it's so heavy, it wants to continue to spin. An object in motion wants to stay in, or tends to stay in motion. So with this, because it's made out of bronze fill, it's much heavier. And this is awesome. I love this. There's all these different, because of all the pedals, you can really nest your finger in there. So that's cool. This one is really cool. I definitely printed, this was definitely one you need to print out of bronze fill because there's no weights, and this small piece of plastic itself isn't very heavy. But when you print this out of bronze fill, it really spins. I don't even know if this is getting in focus. It's probably not. So I'll do a close-up after all, but this one's really cool, and my printer's gonna beep. So this one is really balanced. This one is also made out of bronze fill. This is probably the heaviest fidget spinner I have, and it feels like I bought one of the really expensive ones online that are made out of like titanium or whatever. I love this one. The only downside to this is the bottom edge, where you'll flick your middle finger, is kind of sharp. So aside from that, again, I have more of these geared ones. These are really cool. Then we have another thorn, awesome. And these are the ones that I did not really like. So let's see here. Let's pop some of these bearings out. Which can I pop the bearings out of here? This purple one. I'll show you how difficult and or easy. So these caps just come off. And these bearings will pop out. This one's not gonna wanna come. There we go. Okay, last one. Come on. There we go. They really don't want to cooperate. Like I said, this one has really tight tolerances. Okay, there we go. So now we can try the others. This one was very cool. It's very minimalist. It's super light, but it uses bearings as weight on the outer edge, so you don't have to worry about it not spinning for a while. Let's put these in here. But because it's so thin, I don't even think I can do this. The walls were never connected, so it's very weak. And this is actually I'm not even gonna try. This one was very cool. It's a little too big, but I really like this one. I'm not gonna put the bearings all the way in. I know my printer's beeping, it's fine. This one is cool. It's like the Thorn one, but in 3. Spins very, very good, even though these bearings aren't even fully seated. But this one was definitely nice. I really like this one. So if you have bigger hands, this one is totally the way to go. My hands are just too small. This one is cool. This is a like radial or linear offset type fidget spinner. I'm not even gonna put the bearings in, but as you can see, it's very nice, very small. I don't like the 2s because they're kind of hard to flick, but there's that. I printed, this is another gear one. I printed it in T-line. Pretty cool. The bottom is bowed out just because the heat and the fan I didn't have set properly, but definitely cool. This pyramid one, we'll put in real quick here. Yeah, I know. My printer is beeping because it wants me to change the filament. Okay. Pyramid one, definitely balanced, definitely cool. Really liked it. It's kind of hard to flick because I don't have the bearings all the way in. The only reason I'm not using this one is because the bottom is a little messed up. The bottom prints like this, and then there's like that much of an overhang. So it droops a little bit, kind of a rough bottom. So definitely cool if you have good cooling, or if you want to use support material and sand it down, or a raft, I don't know. And the last one, except for my personal design, is the ghost spinner or something. There's little tiny ghosts in the corners, but I'll put the bearings all the way in this one. This one has pretty good tolerances. This one's really big. Like you can see just how big it is hitting my hand. But this one's huge, spins very nice, doesn't wobble. Really like it, just a little too big. So now let's go to my own personal design. These are fidget spinners, but you'll notice that they spin very good. Like if I really crank that, that'll keep spinning for a while. But there's no bearings as weight, and it's regular PLA and ABS plastic. This one really spins. This bearing is really good. You can hear it. Yeah, this one really spins. So I printed one in clear so you can see the pennies. So that's what's going on. The printer pauses and wants me to change the filament. So it prints. There's holes here. Before it does the top layer, it moves off, pauses, unloads the filament. And then I put all the pennies in. It takes 3 in each corner, I guess, for a total of 12. Load the filament back in, resume the print, and it prints on top. It's really great, super cheap. I have these on my Etsy store. this is probably the cheapest fidget spinner you could make. Like, you buy one bearing and you use pennies as weight. Same with the nuts. But everybody's got pennies. You need to go to Home Depot and ask, oh, I need an M8 hex nut, and the guy's be like, what? And he's gonna point you to the freaking screw and nut aisle, and you're gonna be there for an hour looking for these stupid nuts. So that's why I think this design is very cool, because anyone could do it with a G-code printer, or you could just watch it. Like, you could check on it periodically if you don't have a G-code printer and your printer can't automatically pause. You could just sit there, and then when you see it about to do that top layer, you pause it, put the pennies in, resume. And I really like this. These spin so great. Let me see. I put a bearing in this clear one. There we go. Tolerances are great. Not too hard, not too soft. And one thing to be wary of is that some pennies from different years don't weigh the same. So you'll notice when I really, when I really crank that one, it's balanced. It's not wobbling at all, right? But when I crank this one, is this one? This one's unbalanced as crap. This one, cheese. This one is balanced. So the difference is I used a bunch of random pennies, just pennies I found around the house in this one. But for these two, I went to the bank and I was like, it was funny, I went to the bank, I handed them $1 and I was like, can I have 100 pennies? And the lady's like, yeah? Like, she's like, I guess. So I went to the bank and the pennies I got were all brand new, super shiny, and all from relatively the same year. So the copper nickel content, I believe it's nickel. I don't know, pennies aren't made out of entirely copper, by the way. So they weigh differently, and the ratio has changed over the years. So if you get them from relatively the same year, they'll be pretty accurate, like these two spinners. But if you just use random pennies, I mean, it's doable. It's just a little wobbly. So that's what I recommend, going to the bank, getting a roll of pennies, and picking out the same year. You can even get a scale and weigh them. There is a design, I want to give credit to Mark Fuller, that this is actually derived from his idea. So he has a fidget spinner just like this with the 3 pennies. That actually uses 4, but he has no top layer. So you have to glue in the pennies and you can see them. And that's part of his design. He wants you to be able to see the pennies. But if you want to make like a stealth fidget spinner that has the weight in there that you don't have the penny, don't see the pennies, I just basically put caps on here. So I'll leave a link to his original design, and this will be on Thingiverse in my page. But huge shout out to Mark Fuller. He's the fidget spinner. He's Mr. Fidget, like he's the guy. So I don't want to take credit. His design is fully open source, and I really respect that. And that's what's great about it, is because his design was open source, so it allows people like me to improve upon it and create different designs. So without further ado, that's pretty much all I got. So yeah, have a good one.